Hello, I'm Chris Cooke, and this is the middle of a three-part update on Atlassian Teams 24. Now, the week before, Scott Farquhar announced he was stepping down as Co-CEO of Atlassian, and this was big, shocking news for everyone. He has been such an important part of that company through its meteoric rise over the last 2 decades. So everyone had thoughts and feelings to share, and we thought it'd be fitting to pay tribute to the man and all the wonderful people in the Atlassian community that had something to share about the news and what they think for the future of Atlassian. So we're going to pretend to go live to Martin over in Las Vegas, where he's interviewing people, and we'll get a poll of everyone's thoughts and feelings on this momentous news and what could be the end of an era. Thank you.
I don't know whether you even noticed that. Did you hear that Scott Farquhar stepped down as a CEO?
Yeah.
And did you hear that before the conference, or did you hear it here?
Here.
Okay, you found out here.
Yeah.
So what's your take on that as a newbie in the ecosystem?
That's a difficult question.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not something that you. For me, I know him personally, like from the business. Our business relies on Atlassian striving, so it is a difference if this one person or one of two persons that have made all of this come true now steps down.
Yeah,
it's
and
kind of like
he's
moving.
a character.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in my opinion, that's too few. Scott Farquhar is one of the most intelligent people I ever met. It was so astonishing. In 2014, I had quite some time to get to know him and to talk to him. And in all the conversations with people that I experienced where he was present, he had a very elegant way of turning discussions around without any aggression, without any convincing, but just with very insightful, intelligent points where suddenly, or almost magically, a room of 25 people discussing a hot topic where you say, oh, we're going to get out of here, no one will agree on anything. And then those 25 people say, oh yeah, Scott's got the point. It was really magical, and he didn't do it with any force or anything. So very inspiring person, and I'm very sad because I think such an individual does make a difference, even if you have 11,000 people below him. So I'm curious to find out how Atlassian fares. But I heard someone else also say it's maybe a good practice. So they want to build a company that lasts for 100 years. So maybe you step down early to be able to fix things or to practice that, and maybe comes back. Let's see. Yeah.
Also a good point. And you could also notice during the keynote session that it was just so easy for him to just talk to 4,000 people and get the interest of 4,000 people in this room, and to just spread the magic. We could feel that. We'll miss you, Scott.
Well, I'm sad that he's stepping down, that's for sure. Like, I thought Scott definitely had a few more years. Like, he obviously shaped the company in a significant way.
You probably can't count the hours that you've talked to those people.
Yeah. And I haven't had a chance to speak with him, messaged a little bit, but it's been like 23 years is also a long time. He's been doing it since he's like just out of university. Like, very few people stay in a job for 23 years. I think it's just like a lot of other interests as well, that he feels like he can make an impact in the world that's maybe even bigger than what he has done with Atlassian. Like, yeah, I'm sad, and like at the same time I'm excited for him. The way I think about it as well, if you build a company, and I was wondering if this is the right move for me, like founding a company, and I think you really enjoy being a founder and having your company, but at the same time you're also somewhat of a prisoner. I mean, you talked about this at U-Talk. You kind of feel like you can't just leave because you might like abandon the company and what's happening to it. So
there's I think at the size that they are in Atlassian, he can leave and Atlassian will be fine.
But it's a big decision though. And it's like obviously like a lot of people, I think like that came as a surprise of people.
It was the first thing that I thought. I'm very sad.
Yeah, and it's hard to imagine Scott not being at Atlassian as well.
Did you see that coming?
No, not at all. I was very surprised. But I think like Atlassian is going to be doing fine as well. But I'm also excited for Scott to see what's next for him.
The next thing after me thinking, oh, I'm sad, is, do you know of Ray Dalio?
Yeah.
He's a very wealthy and successful entrepreneur in the investment world in America. He came back 5 times or something. Like he wasn't satisfied with how people ran the company when he left. Oh. Scott, maybe you're going to come back. Yeah, be a supervisor in the board somewhere, so that you're close enough to say, I can do this.
You never know. Like maybe like a year or two, like you realize, like, I really missed this, and you never know.
I would have thought that Mike would go first because he kind of like revolutionized energy things in Australia, and I think, okay, this guy is off to a more significant cause, but it's the other way around.
I think it's just like Mike has been probably a bit more public with like his investments and activities outside, and Scott less so. Probably that's why most people thought it would be Mike, but...
So we wish him well.
Well, I put it in a poem.
Okay, here comes a poem.
Well, no, not poems. It's a good decision, So I mean, okay, obviously, wanting to spend more time with the family is the kind of go-to explanation. But in the end, if you want to refocus on something else, and I mean, come on, he's not disappearing from the scene. He's still a board member, That would give Atlassian an absolutely huge opportunity to introduce a female co-CEO. I don't know if they're doing that.
Maybe from India.
Maybe, yeah. So my take on it is that I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Are you frightened a little bit that Atlassian may change when he's no longer actively involved?
Considering the fact that he called Mike an unreasonable man, that will be the moment,
Actually, I don't really know if that's a signal, that things that are changing internally at Atlassian, or just that, he's been doing that for 15, 20 years?
23 years.
Yeah, I can understand that at some point, you might want to do something else, like something completely different, and step down and enjoy some time. Also, not being that busy anymore. I'm pretty curious about the next 6 months, 12 months. We'll see how it goes. I hope that's for the better for him. Quite curious to see who's gonna step up and take his place.
Oh, I mean, we touched on this right at the beginning of our chat here. Like, why do people sell out to private equity? They get tired, they want to move on, they want to have more experiences. You yourself have said this, you can do anything you want to do, so what do you choose to do? And so I guess if you're in Scott's position, what do you want to throw the next 40 years of your life into? Because I think about it this way, Martin, as I said, I've just turned 40, I've probably got 40 summers left, I've probably got 35 good summers left. And so how do I want to spend my time? Where do I want to, what do I want to do with my family? What do I want to do in my community? And what do I want to do at the business? And how do I bring these things together? So I guess, for me, it's just like, it's a great run. I always remember Scott and Mike talking about being the Australian software company success story. And it is clear to me that Atlassian is, and forever will be, the Australian software company success story.
Yeah, they achieved that.
Like, they well and truly achieved that goal. And so it's now like, okay, what's my next goal? What do I want to go on and do next?
Do you know what? On Sunday, I met two probably 60 or 65-year-old people, a couple. They asked me, what are you here for? A conference. Oh, by the way, it's an Australian company called Atlassian. You probably know them.
No.
Scott Farquhar, Mike Brooks. Never heard of them. This is so rewarding. Thank you so much.
I'm happy for him on a personal level. As a professional, I'm sad to see him go because it feels like it's the start of the end of an era. I owe a lot to Scott and Mike. My career, my life would have been totally different if it was not for Atlassian.
You were talking about the humane character of the community, and is that leaving with the founders as well? Mike is still there, but
I feel like no. That is firmly embedded in it. It's beyond much bigger than the two of them.
Yeah, okay.
And that's also something they sell themselves. But I still remember meeting Scott and Mike the first time in Belgium, I think in 2008. Like just two developers standing behind a table with some stuff about issue tracking. And I was always enamored with them and like the story from Atlassian, the fact that they were Australian. And I've met Scott multiple times. I think he's an awesome person. I wish him all the best. I think we're going to miss him, but I wasn't surprised by the announcement.
Yeah.
To be honest, the one thing I was surprised was Scott and not MCB.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised it hasn't happened sooner. I know both him and MCB love their job at Atlassian, love working with the group. And Atlassian is an amazing company, but it's grown and it has changed, and it is not the baby they started with. It is taking on a life of its own. I'm a little surprised that after 20 years, they haven't stepped down sooner, because leading that kind of growth for that long is intense. So I do not blame Scott for stepping down at all. And I do wish him all the best, but I do think with him leaving, Atlassian will change. I don't know if it'll be good or bad. I hope it's for the best. Atlassian has shown pretty good judgment in the past as far as growing in the best ways, but I'm interested to see what happens in the future.
It's an end of an era. Let's be honest, it's an end of an era. And it kind of caught us all by shock, even at Atlassian.
You didn't know?
We didn't know. We found out last week. And
so at the press announcement.
At the time he shared it outside with the rest of the world, they shared it with us a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, okay.
And it was one of those things where
it's kind of fair.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I commend the guy. I tell you what, because think about it. For the last 22 years, he's been at
23.
This. Yeah, 23 at this point. He's been going at it with Mike, helping to create something that honestly has changed the lives of so many people, and he's kind of earned it at this point. I love, he did a couple of things that it still gives me goosebumps, because I just love his intentionality around why he's leaving. Is one of the big pieces is he wants to spend some time with the family. He did a couple of these excursions, especially during the pandemic, where he took a couple months off, went to the bush with his family. They had a great time. And I think those were things that helped him kind of realize that for him, he's only got, he could build a company, it'll be amazing, but he's only got so much time with his kids, his family, and so he wants to take that time. So, for a guy who's built this multi-billion-dollar company, I hope he's able to now take that and then really just enjoy the life he's built. Now for us, with bringing in Mike, it's going to be different, because if you think about it, it's like Mike and Scott were like the left and the right side of the brain. And right now we're taking off one side, so we're going to have to learn how to operate. I think we're going to step on ourselves every now and then. We're going to realize maybe we were meaning to do something, but it didn't feel very Atlassian, but it was because we didn't have the other half. So we're going to have to relearn, I think, a little bit about that.
But he's not going to be gone altogether, right?
He won't be gone altogether, but it won't be the same. It won't be like he's in our day-to-day. Like, he's not going to be jumping on Loom videos and sending them to us each week. We're not going to see him in our Confluence pages anymore.
Are you frightened a little bit?
If I'm honest, I am a little. It's always something. Oh, I know. It's honestly,
if you
right?
lose half of your brain,
I know, right?
It's one thing. Like no one that I talked to said he doesn't deserve that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like that's the one side, and then there's the side where we come in, where we just stay there,
right?
And want this to thrive.
It's like, what do we want? We want to see this keep growing, right? And I think what I'm afraid for, if I'm being totally honest, is that with Mike and Scott, they built the culture that is Atlassian. They created our values. Yeah. It was them. They were the ones that I see it in a lot of big companies. I see it in a lot of tech companies. The founders create that vibe, and then when the founders leave, that vibe changes. And for me, that's why I'm so excited that Mike's still around, because I think Mike, again, he's going to keep carrying that torch for us. But it is something that's it's the unknown. The unknown is always scary, and I think that's for us. We're going to have to figure out, how do we work in the new world?
I'm going to give you some mean and tougher stuff that I heard, and you don't have to answer it. So when I ask people, let's assume 2 weeks ago, I told you next week one of the founders will leave.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be? 100% at Mike and Brooks.
I would have said it too. Yeah. And the reason I would have said Mike, honestly, was because he's done a lot of stuff with like the green movement. He's given a lot of investment.
He's transformed energy in
Australia. Yeah, exactly. And the thing is I even saw like a few weeks ago, there was an article about him doing new stuff with it. And so I would have put money in Vegas, then it would have been Mike. Yeah. So I think that was probably part of the startling part, was it wasn't who we expected, And again, we don't never want any of them to leave, but it wasn't the one we expected to leave. And so that's why it kind of shocked us, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, So I agree with that.
I have these two baskets.
Yeah.
And still everyone's laying.
Yeah, everyone's saying, "Is that what? Did I take this?" I'm like, what? Why would you do that?
Okay.
I think that he's done a phenomenal job. I mean, even he and Mike both on the stage today, they look older, right? They look a little bit more tired, and I can't imagine running an empire like this. It's got to be draining. It's got to be exhausting. So it did come as a shock. I had no idea it was coming. My first thought was, is Mike going to be okay? But after that, I think it sounds like he's going to focus on health and family, which I am always a fan of. So disappointed that I won't be seeing him at future teams, but happy that he's making a decision that feels right for him.
I was surprised. So first I thought this is like fake news. Then I read the official blog and I said, okay, at the end I see it as following. I think he did not do that much as you would expect that he did as co-CEO, right? So I don't get why he stepped back, but at the end I think Atlassian as company is very stable. So Atlassian will survive and will be innovative also without him.
I fully agree, yeah.
And we have still Mike, and it might be that in 10 years, maybe less, he will leave also Atlassian. They had a once-in-a-lifetime journey, so it was a great journey, and I think he needs to also make space for new innovations. Anu came, I think she is in the company very long, but she has a very good success story, right? She was head of cloud, now...
Do you think she's going to be the successor?
I have the feeling, yes.
Okay.
And I think she's doing a good job. So from that perspective, I don't have fear. Nevertheless, you can see it in the stock market that the market did not like the message, but I guess as the market is, they will forget and innovation will hopefully come the next days. So I think it's a message worth saying, but it's nothing critical.
I think he's been building this company for a long time, and I think 20. How many years is it? 23 years now is a good go. So funny story. I visited my parents last week. Was in the car with my dad, and he was asking me, "What do you think is going to happen with these two founders?" Because with Acoil, I'm co-CEO with Simon Hurd, and this concept was kind of new to my dad. He's like, 2 of you, how does that work? And I said, actually, Atlassian has done that and done quite well, for 23 years, and he.
I'm doing so since 28 years with my brother.
Yeah, perfect.
So maybe the brother is different, but,
but
sometimes you probably know Aldi, right?
Sorry?
Aldi, German discounter.
Yeah.
And those two brothers, it didn't work well with those two. And so you have Aldi North and South.
Oh, funny.
And I think in Australia it's Aldi South.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, so they've divided, it's a family split.
And it's a billion-dollar company.
Yeah.
They are still doing stuff together. Yeah. Whatever. So founders.
Anyway, so the conversation with my dad was, he just said, I wonder what's going to happen with them. Like how does that go? And I actually said, I don't think that they'll both be around by the end of this year. In terms of,
and that was
just sort of about a week before the news came out. And I'm not Nostradamus or anything, but it was just.
Let's assume you're still in this car with your dad.
Yeah.
And now I'm your dad. I'm asking you, who's going to go first?
I actually would have said Mike. That would have been my guess.
Everyone would have said Mike Henbruch's going to go first.
Yeah.
And then your dad would have said, why? Why do you think Mike will go first?
I actually don't have a good answer. I just had a gut feel for that. I
but
think
you're in the middle of it.
He's so involved in. He's got all the climate stuff that he's doing, and he seems busy anyway. But
from Germany, which may be totally wrong, but it looks from Germany as if Mike Cannon-Brookes, on the side of leading Atlassian, has kind of like transformed. Is it ACL or AGL or like as far as I know, the biggest coal or energy producing company in Australia?
Yeah.
And he came in and said, "Oh, I have all this money." Gobbled up with a venture capital fund.
Yep.
And how about we make a pledge that you stop using coal energy in 2038 or something?
Yeah.
And then the board of directors said, go away, you tech guy.
Yeah.
And I think half a year or 3/4 of a year, those people stepped down.
Yeah.
Mike didn't come in, but I think they made their pledge now. I maybe too detached, but I thought it would be a big thing in Australia.
Yeah, it makes news. I mean, if there's a tech company in Australia that anyone knows about, it's Atlassian. And then if there's 2 tech billionaires that people know about, it's Mike and Scott. And I think maybe one of the other reasons I would have said Mike is that I think maybe you see more of what he's doing. Than Scott has always seemed a bit more, maybe private, I don't know if that's the right word, but just maybe more reserved about side projects that he may or may not have. And so maybe that's why I kind of felt that way. But yeah, I know everyone sort of leans the Mike way when we come to that. But so I'm curious, what do you think? Like, when does Mike decide to?
First of all, I was super sad when I heard that because I'm in business for 28 years. We've seen like really good success with Draw.io.
Yeah.
Twice a week there's a VC company or a big capital company asking, Martin, do you want to sell your company? Or at least
Are you ready
some of your
yet?
products? Yeah, it's kind of like that. And I think, no, I love what I'm doing. And I thought, those two, they can also go on forever. And but yeah, now I understood, okay, it doesn't happen for those.
So I think the idea of a 100-year company is really inspiring. And yeah, I see your point. It's a bit sad. And I think there's a lot of people that feel that way, that who knows what's going to happen. It'll be a different company, maybe the vibe will change.
I heard someone say, it's a little bit rude, but Mike checked out 5 years ago, right? So where's the captain now? And
it's easy to pick on CEOs though, isn't it? I mean, I feel like it's easy
from
afar.
Like it's also like, the good side of that is, if a company is successful, those CEOs, they're geniuses, and they are so great. And but it's a tale. It's like it's always impossible alone.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
That doesn't mean Mike and Scott. It means Mike and Scott and 11,000 other people doing that. I was sad that he wouldn't be around. Yesterday, someone told me that he thinks things are going to change, and that's ultimately what I also think. Like,
well, the company's so much bigger now, and I think change just inevitably happens to companies as they grow, like Atlassian has. I think it was bound to happen. If they wanted to build a 100-year company, they'd resign at some point.
So I've actually talked about this with Rodney and Alex, and that was one of those times where they pulled me in front of the camera on the Jira Life podcast. We still have that episode floating around on YouTube. The other hosts were believing that there was some sort of backroom office intrigue or drama, and I think it's something on Scott's
really? I don't think that any office drama can make Scott Farquhar leave. He's the king there.
You know, maybe he made the bad bet on dropping server and to move to cloud, or no. I'm not in that camp. I'm on team no trend. They thought it was a trend because not only because Scott stepped down, and then another executive that we knew at Atlassian, Justine Davis. She was a VP of marketing for Agile DevOps. She took a position to be the VP of marketing for Postmail. They were thinking that dominoes were being set up to fall. They were on team trend, some sort of office intrigue that, Atlassian's ready to fall. I'm like, nah, I don't think so. Just to keep the story simple, I think Scott has realized that in his personal journey, he's at the top of the mountain. There's nothing higher to climb, and so maybe it's time to step back and see
something new.
What else?
Maybe a purposeful NGO mountain. Let's wish him all the best.
When I read that, like last week, I was like, wow. I was super shocked that it was released just before Teams, but I understand the idea that people will discuss like we are discussing right now. Scott did a tremendous work, and I'm saying always to the friends of mine, or now to you, it's a normal thing. Like look at Bill Gates. He's not CEO anymore, right? So he just gave his baby to somebody else, and he is a little bit backward to look from the rear seat how the company will work. And I understand him, and I wish him good luck, because what he did was like amazing. I worked together with Mike, so he will be always legend, but he's not leaving. He will be just now not CEO, but the board member, right? So
I think it's just natural, I mean, if you made that much money and also have some goals to a degree change the world or have an impact in the world, then it's only natural that you're not going to be running a for-profit company forever. He probably, from a day-to-day running, he wasn't too much involved anyway. So I think it's just how it goes on.
He's probably ready for retirement, I guess. I mean, they've been doing a great job with Atlassian for, how long is it? Is it
23 years.
23 years, yeah. So look what Atlassian has grown into since the day they started. They started out as people not wanting to wear suits at work, and now everything you see around us, thousands of people, are all here committed to Atlassian. So maybe he wants to relax, maybe he wants to go back to coding, because they're actually computer scientists. So my guess is he wants to do some coding projects and get time for that.
Maybe he'll announce an app one day.
Maybe it's AI development.
Let's see, okay. Cool answer. Probably one of the best that I got so far.
first of all, it's always a personal and very emotional decision. We cannot look from the outside in those guys, and you cannot look in my ideas and in your ideas. It is because he's working for, let's say, his heart project so hard. It's kind of understandable if you look from the outside to that, and maybe after that long time, it's good to find a new addition to the management team. The question that I'm asking myself is, what is with Mike? So how long will he stay? Because I have a co-founder too. If you work together in that way for 25, 30 years, it's not super easy to let one go and be on stage for the next 10 years or so.
So you expect him to follow suit?
It's up to him. Very, very personal and emotional decision. That there is not that much business decision on it. It's just so I need to see something new. I have to care about my family. I want to be an investor or something like that, and then you have to decide it for your own.
Are you frightened that it will affect Lively apps and the ecosystem that those founders? No. And is Anu going to be the next CEO? She's already saying, I'm sending Loom messages to my 11,000 employees. That sounds like preparing a new CEO.
I see her as one person in the top management team. Doesn't matter what's the title or something like that. So I see her on the same level. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if you remember the former president, what was his name? Yeah, so he was the same. He was always from a management perspective on the same level. Yeah. Not from a shareholder perspective.
But what I also get is you find she's fully qualified, and that's a likely outcome that she's going to become the CEO.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think I met her the first time, maybe in Barcelona, 16. Is that possible?
She told me last year. I should know. But we can look it up. It's on LinkedIn. It's on YouTube.
From then, it's you see the development over the decade.
Sajid yesterday told me she's an OG, and I said, what does it mean? He said, original gangster. So someone who came in very early and knows the game.
The interesting thing about that is that they didn't say anything about that
everyone was waiting for it, right?
I felt like he's not stepping away. It's just, I mean, he's stepping away, but they didn't announce, so it didn't feel like that. But I could also see in his face that he probably needs a change. I mean, you could see the difference between Mike's face and his face, and I think he needs something else. Of course, it's not great for Atlassian. Of course, I'm pretty sure they'll find someone who is as capable as him, but still, he was the person who, together with Mike, started all this and made this huge ecosystem that fills the whole Vegas. That's gonna be interesting, I would say. That's gonna be interesting change, and hopefully it will be not bad.
That's good for him. I mean, he's an amazing philanthropist, and I think he probably realized he could be doing so much more good in the world. I mean, him and Mike, they're awesome guys. I think it's a testament to why the ecosystem is the way that it is. I've never worked in an ecosystem with so much healthy competition and just overall just generally good people. So I think it's not surprising that Scott decided he wanted to just put his effort into the philanthropic things that he does. So it was only a matter of time.
Is Mike Cannon-Brookes going to follow him?
I would not be surprised. If I was a betting man in Vegas, probably at some point, because I know that Mike also shares a lot of the same views. But the Pledge 1% is a great illustration of their wanting to use their influence to give back.
I heard others Mike's going to become Australia's president.
Maybe that too. I wouldn't be surprised. No, I mean, it's great. I think the work they've done is great, and I think Scott obviously was ready to move on to different things, which I think I applaud him for it.
2 weeks ago, and you're in a betting place in Las Vegas.
Sure.
So you have to bet on Mike Cannon-Brookes or Scott Farquhar. Who would you have bet on?
I actually would have said Mike.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but also I don't know either of them that well. So, but I would have, in my head, I would have thought it would have been Mike first.
I don't know if the things will change, but let's see. Because I can't imagine the Atlassian ecosystem without Mike and Scott. It will be difficult.
There will be change.
Yes. I don't know. I don't know if it is only the beginning of another step down or step back. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know because Atlassian is.
I like the honesty in this answer, but it's also like, what does it do to us? And I'm doing this with my brother. So Seibert Group is led by my brother and myself and Sebastian. And my brother has always been complimenting. But I'm like a lot of ideas person, a lot of chaos. And my brother's not as quickly excited as I am, and that helps the company
you
a lot.
have a balance.
And that's something that I saw in Mike and Scott as well. Like Mike rather being this ideas builder person, and Scott rather like the organizer and making sure everything actually works. And you can never say what is more important, but one part will be missing in the future. So
yes, I usually think about. I started to thought about Deiser. They said that we are 5 partners, so we are very complement between each other, and I think the same with respect Mike and Scott.
Well, Scott announced that after 23 years of being a co-founder and a co-CEO, that he wanted to step away and spend time on other things. I know he's got 3 young kids, and I think it's great that family comes before work at times, and I think Atlassian's built a really resilient business, good succession planning inside. I'm actually really proud and really happy for him.
So you're not frightened?
Frightened? No, I not at all.
Like the foreigners and the strangers from the stock market didn't seem to appreciate
great opportunity to potentially buy it.
Yeah. So you're not frightened?
No, not at all. As humans, we don't like change. But if
is that so?
In general, right? Humans don't like change.
All, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely all of them. I checked them all.
Okay.
Right? Just in general. If we love our own progression, but if someone else has progression that might make us feel uncomfortable, we generally don't like it. Both Mike and Scott and the whole Atlassian team have built a really resilient business. It's co-CEO, right? They're great partnership, great business. From the public records, he's still a major owner of the business, significant owner of the business. So there's no incentive to,
Oh, he will care. He will
he cares. He's still a special advisor to the board. I actually think he will be more impactful to Atlassian by the impact outside that an influence he can bring. So I think it's great. Like
almost like PR work. Okay, yeah, cool.
Kind of. How long have you been in business?
28 years now.
28, right? And I'm at like 24.
Yeah.
So like for us, there's times we want to take a sabbatical, take time off, take time away, maybe do something different. And I think that's all power to be able to do that.
I've been told for years that I would run into a burnout. I'm still waiting for that.
You never know until it's there.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
So like first reaction was, okay, I understand this. Because he mentioned about the family, that he needs to spend more time with his family, which is quite obvious reason after so many years of success, business travels, etc. I think the only one thing that we can be sure that there will be a change. We don't know in which direction the change goes, but there will be a change. And there are so many questions. Does the mic remain on the sole CEO position? Does someone join to Mike? Or maybe there are some, maybe there's a bigger game somewhere. So there will be a change, and I think that we'll see, or maybe even they will announce something during the team. We don't know, but something will change definitely. Like, I'm pretty
Are you
sure.
frightened of that? Did it, or?
I don't treat this as a like a treat, a threat. I think it could like a natural process. Like he's here like 22, 23 years.
Oh, he was very explicit of trying to do other things and so on.
So very long time he done something incredibly big and something that impacts on businesses everywhere. From my perspective, that he achieved much more than he expected at the beginning.
That's guaranteed.
It's a pity, so they were kind of example, how two developers that can found a company, and so their personality, both of Scott and Mike, kind of inspired other developers like me become a businessman. And
they got you in.
I'm also a tech guy, so who learned the business side.
What does it do with you? Like, are you frightened that Atlassian's going to change and for the worse?
I hope not. So it's hard to predict, and always as the companies grow larger, so they are changing, but sometimes we think, well, it was very good in the olden days, but I think that somehow still Atlassian has managed to keep their attitude towards partner. And
so you're hopeful?
Yeah, so I hope that that this next level of management will be every person can make their decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. That's not the question.
Of course, it was a big surprise. We're always asking ourselves who of the founders will be leaving the company at some point in time, and of course, it's totally understandable for whatever family reasons to step down and to spend some time with your growing family. I think we all know that as entrepreneurs, that it is always hard to get a company and a family on the same page. So I totally understand that. And I know everybody is talking here about that and what's going to happen to Atlassian and so forth.
Are you frightened?
I'm not frightened, and I can tell you why, because my co-founder has left 3 years ago. And in the beginning we were, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to the company? And in the end, he left and he's doing fine and we're still friends, and the company has not changed that much. But what happened is that new people got into new roles, and it was actually also freeing some potential. So, and we have the saying in Germany, if one door closes, another one opens. And even if you don't know where it leads. So I wouldn't see that too negative. I think this is just a natural thing that, well, we change the way we work, that we have some changes in our lives. And of course, we are living in a free world and everybody is free to decide what to do.
I think that sometimes people need time for themselves. You know, they need time for the families, they need time just for other things. Personally, I understand it completely. I think personally, I would probably do the same. From the point of view of the product, I don't think he's gone. I think there'll still be exchange. His mind will be accessible, like how you say. He will be there. But personally, I understand the decision.
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's a great opportunity for maybe potential future leaders also to step out. I think Scott spends so much time and he puts so much energy into Atlassian to take it where it is now. And you know, everyone needs a break in a certain point.
You did that, right?